Hey, what up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you today. I really kicked my ass going into the gym today while I was in there. Basically, WWE sent out a tweet. It was about a story that they're putting up on WWE.com today, talking about looking into their crystal ball, looking at the matches to be the future of WrestleMania 32. The biggest one that I think grabbed everybody's attention because it was the one that they used for the picture to lead you to go over to the website was Sting versus Taker. This is probably one of the biggest dream matches that a lot of people have been looking forward to having for a long time. You can think of the storyline that's been going down basically with Sting being involved with TNA Impact Wrestling, and around WrestleMania 27 there was rumors that Sting would be leaving TNA and going to WWE in order to have the big dream match happen at WrestleMania 27, which was happening in Atlanta. Of course, a lot of people thought the backdrop of Atlanta having WrestleMania would be focusing on the past of the NWA and WCW, putting a lot of those guys into the Hall of Fame, having those guys have dream matches, and none of those things even really came to light. You can think about it, they sort of first went to Sting after it looked like Sting wasn't going to happen. They went to Goldberg. That didn't look like it was going to happen, and then they sort of had a match fall into their lap, Undertaker versus Triple H. They never really played off the fact of basically Undertaker making Shawn Michaels retire, and that's why Triple H stepped up to the plate to sort of, fight the guy and beat the streak of that took his friend away. It killed DX. His friend wasn't on the road with him anymore, and it was just him by himself. Even though he had sort of moved into the CFO, CEO, whatever his name is, inside of the wrestling job title that he has. It ended up being one of my favorite matches that I've ever seen of all time. How close Triple H came to beating the streak. It was a match that wasn't supposed to happen that really sort of fell into their lap. And, of course, from there, the rumors would happen again for WrestleMania 28. They think they were even there for WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 30, when Sting's contract, finally did end with TNA, and he did not re-sign because I think, TNA sort of saw the writing on the wall that there was going to be a lot of cost cutting, having Sting, one of their most, big money wrestlers. What were they really going to do with him? He'd already done just about everything. He'd been the main event. He'd been the mid-card. He'd been the tag champ. He'd been the GM of the show. They gave him about every job that they were able to do, and they had grown to a spot that it could only be at. And a lot of people thought that Sting would be coming in for WrestleMania 30. That ended up never happening. Undertaker ended up taking on Brock Lesnar. It ended up being the year that Brock Lesnar beat the streak, 21-1. It was over. I didn't even think Undertaker would come back this year for WrestleMania 31. Sting, of course, coming in at WWE, it looked like it was going to be the dream match. Perfect situation for all of this to happen. And instead, Undertaker takes on Bray Wyatt. Sting takes on Triple H. And the guys never really cross path. It's the question that I think Sting gets at every autograph, every picture, WrestleCon, Access, Wizard World. Anytime he does any of these public signings, I'm sure it's the number one thing. Are you going to fight Taker? Is it going to happen? Taker's sort of he did Wizard World last year in Austin, Texas. He didn't do Access this year. He's sort of a taken back guy. He doesn't put himself out there into the public eye all that much. He sort of lives that the gimmick, and he sort of takes a step back. He shows up at UFC every once in a while, doesn't do a lot of interviews, but the reason why I took you down the road talking about all the times that this match could have happened. So many people are tweeting to me, or just tweeting out that WWE is actually acknowledging that people want to see this match. If you think that the Raw after WrestleMania, when they went to the WWE Network exclusive, when they did the interview with Sting basically said, "I don't know what comes from here. There are no plans on the books for me to come back. I'm not going to be a part of SummerSlam, Survivor Series, next year's WrestleMania. Nothing has been pitched to me. I don't know where we're going." And the crowd all started chanting for Undertaker to see the match that we wanted to see, and he basically didn't know what to say because there is no plans for that match to happen yet, even though there's so many people out there that want to see it. I was surprised that Taker came back for WrestleMania 31. I'd be really surprised if Taker came back to have another match at WrestleMania 32. Let's face it, the match against Brock Lesnar, he got bumped on the head early. You can talk about the concussions. You can say that that was the reason why the match wasn't that good. As far as I know, Bray Wyatt had an ankle injury earlier in the day, which led to maybe Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt not being that good as well. But that's 2 Taker matches that weren't that good. After so many years, Taker matches not being that great. And I was, for one, for saying that, once he got to the number of 20-0, it didn't really make a lot of sense for him to keep going out there. Why wouldn't he retire and give that spot to somebody else? And but I kept saying, as long as you can have the match of the night, who am I to say that you can't go out there and do what you've done for years? So go ahead and do it. But after 2 bad Taker matches, I think it's a big-time risk to put Taker versus Sting in there, especially with it being such a hot dream match that so many people want to see. These guys get blown up in there. They don't have a good match. Do the boo birds come out, even though so many people respect these guys? Do people turn their back on this match? Do they head to the bathroom? Do they go out and get that extra beer or that extra soda? So many things could go wrong that makes you want to wonder if they're even going to do this match. But I think there's a lot of people out there, asking, can this match happen? So I think that WWE does need to sit down and actually have a discussion, finding out what the plans are for 32. I know everybody wants it to be bigger and better because it's in Texas. It's in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. 100,000 fans is the dream number. Can they top WrestleMania 3? They're going to have to pull it out. I don't like the fact that when they did the draw up talking about WrestleMania 32, it doesn't really talk about anybody that's on the main roster. It talks a lot about guys coming back. Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back and having one more match. Taker, Sting, Triple H, it's a thing to have these part-time guys on the card. But, there's so many guys that wrestle day in and day out for WWE on house shows, Monday Night Raws, SmackDowns, and the normal pay-per-views. They get bumped and put into the pre-show Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or the tag team matches. Let's start focusing on, moving forward with the guys that you have. You got so many guys in NXT that need a spot on that main roster. And if a spot on WrestleMania opens up, it's a spot to make a bigger star. So many guys, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, Tyler Breeze, they're just looking to have a spot on the main roster that they can have to make them a big star. And a WrestleMania match would be something to show the fans that these guys really do mean something in the future. You look at that Adrian Neville match that he had against Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. A lot of people thought it was a burial. I thought it was a step showing you that these guys are the future of the WWE. He didn't win the championship on Monday Night Raw in his second match. No duh. I think a lot of people thought that was going to happen, but there are those few people out there that thinking losing a match to the champion is a burial in 2015. It's a spotlight. It's a spotlight to show how good this guy is and how great of a match he's going to be. If he takes Seth Rollins to the end, and it took J&J Security making a run-in to end the match, then how good do you think he's going to be when he goes in there against the mid-card guys that haven't been able to beat Seth Rollins yet? You've been able to show that in the right situation, this guy has a chance to beat Seth Rollins and become the champion anytime he has a match with him. And Seth Rollins is going to know to duck this guy as long as possible. So we'll have to see what the future holds. WrestleMania 32 is going to be here before we know it. I knew that I wasn't ready to go to WrestleMania 31 until basically almost the day before, when I was like, I better start putting some shit in the bag. So I know that WrestleMania 32 is going to be here in no time.